Welcome back to another garden tour, and I'm going to be taking through a section of my border that you have here and talk you through all the different plants that are now developing and showing good promise for the summer. Also, I'll tell you the history for some of the plants, and that's it. That's what we got for today. So right at the back, I've got the Euonymus that is 4 years old, a little bit over 4 years old. These were the very first plants I planted in the edge in the garden, remembering that at the beginning I didn't want to plant anything that would have blooms because of pollen. So I had mainly just the Euonymus, but they've come a long way with their heights now. So the Euonymus is what I have all through towards this side of the border until I get to the close to the very bottom of the border of the garden, where I've got the tree, and you can see the tree in the far end. Now after some time there is a break with the Euonymus, so if I zoom in, you'll be able to see that I've got a different type of Euonymus there, the microphyllus, that are much smaller than the ones I have at the beginning of the garden, of the border. These ones are slow grower, but they're doing the job, and I'm waiting for them to mature. And it's looking like very soon I may be trimming this Euonymus because they are growing quite profusely now. They're getting to close to 1.75, and I may want to trim them a little bit. But so far, they're forming a really good backdrop for this edge. My intention was to use to make sure that I have some plants to have layers, and so I have some plants that I've planted that would form like the base and the ground as ground cover, and I'm going to zoom in to show you that. So you can see some grasses right under the Euonymus there. So the variegated vinca, the periwinkle that is in focus at the moment, was just one pot when I bought it from the garden center, and I have it in so many places in the garden now, and all through this border they keep popping up, and I've transplanted them several times to cover the length of the whole border there, and you can see this as we're going along. And this is just because my aim is to reduce the length of time I will spend weeding, and so this acting as ground cover would help me to be able to achieve that objective. Zooming in for the vinca, you can see it's giving these nice purple flowers that add to color of the border, and that is one of the reasons why I particularly like this vinca. This coprosma doesn't seem to be doing very well. I transplanted it onto this section. It was about this height, and somehow it's not looking good. I'll leave it and see, maybe it will be revived. If not, then I may have to remove it and then just leave it for some time now. So here you go. There are still many points in this border where I have planted the vinca, and you can see it there. This particular vinca major has the capacity to be a bit erect for some time, about 45 centimeters. It can hold. Sorry, that was a biker. So it can hold up to about 45 centimeters in height, erect, before it starts flopping and covering the ground. So that's it all the way, and this is the last point in the border where I have it. So moving a little backwards, I've got a fern that is tucked in, and behind the two Euonymus there is a Periwinkle, with variegated leaves, and it does look really nice when it brings out, when those new leaves are coming, because they give this bright red colors that just add like statement onto this section. I'm not quite sure what is happening to the daffodils here, but I can see that there is a dicentral, which is the bleeding heart. I'm going to zoom in on that. My plan was to remove this, but I forgot, because it does like a little more sun than this location, than you get from this sun at this location. But I'll leave it and just see what it looks like and how it thrives this year. and then make a decision on what to do with it henceforth. So I'm just moving slowly down now towards the bottom of the garden. I have the same things being repeated. I intention is to have a pattern. Oh, lest I forget, I've got a climber that is climbing now on the Euonymus, and that was my desire, that this Euonymus will be big enough, and so that was why I introduced the vine there, and it looks like it's doing what I intended to do. I hope when it brings out the flowers, they would look lovely in this section. The heather is coming now with some flowers, and I'll just decided to leave it here because I like the way it just stands out here, and I think it's not in the way of anything, and so I'm going to leave it there. And then we can see the colourful primrose and the different, there are 3 in this area. We've got the red one, we've got the yellow one, and the brownish yellow one that also forms a nice statement piece in this section. My aim is to reduce drastically how much weeding I would need to do, and so I have quite a lot of plants in this area. I've got the leucotoi, and I also have I've got right on the ground there, I've got some Euonymus marmalade, and in front these are some of the bulbs that I introduced just this November. So I think they're tulips because they're coming up of the way the flower is, so I'm looking forward to see them. But generally what it's showing me in this section is that the garden border is coming up nicely. I introduced this Lanium Oorla to this portion of the garden last year, and I was quite surprised at how tall it really went, because it grew, because on the plant passport I have it says that it will grow up to 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, but this one that I have here grew as tall as almost 75 to 1 meter. So at one point I decided to cut it off, but of course it is it's come back and it's looking beautiful as of this time, with those nice purple flowers that are tucked in below the leaves. So that is forming another layer in this edge and the part of the border. So coming further forwards, I've got this Microphilus Euonymus that is all green. It's got slight variation, what's it called again, variegation just around the tip, but it's not very obvious. But I like it in this location because it stands on its own, and with it I was able to put some things around the bottom of it, like the primrose. This one is not flowering yet, and I have some grasses that I've tucked in front of it to form a different layer. And then you've got the obsidian Euonymus that is beginning to do well now. I think it needs more. It'll do a lot better than this as we get towards summer. And then we've got the tete-a-tete bulb that I put in here in November, that's also doing well. And some other things are coming back to life, like the ajuga, the variegated one that I have right in front of the border here. So the lowest layer we have here would be the Euonymus and the ajuga that are slowly coming back to life. And I've got this, I've forgotten the name of this plant here, but it comes out with really beautiful yellow flowers, and I'm looking forward to having that when the time comes. So we're going further down the bottom end. You can see the Euonymus that I have there, and there's another one, a green one, which brings out orange red blooms. They're beautiful. I would do a video on my Euonymus when they are fully in their glory towards the summer months of the year. I don't want the video to be too long, so I think I'll do a separate video for the other side of my border, which is looking beautiful at the moment as well, and talk you through all the plants that I have there. And so watch out for that video, which will be a follow-on from this one. I think I may also do another video for the front of my shed and also the back of it, so you can see how I have, you know, maintained those places, and also see the kind of plants I've used where, you know, the area looks a bit challenging. And I hope that this video has been of benefit to you. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on your notification button so you can receive an alert when a new video is being released. Until next time, I say bye.